My Nerd World.
Where's the revolution? Come on, people, you're letting me down. Where's the revolution? Come on, people, you're letting me down.
Welcome to Depeche Mode, the podcast. I'm your host, John Justice, episode number 2, and we have a ton to talk about on this podcast today. It's a week late. A lot of us who've been, well, us Depeche Mode fans who've been patiently awaiting the arrival of the first single from the album Spirit, Where's the Revolution, were under the impression we were going to get it on the 27th last week. And that day came and went, and it was really quiet. And there wasn't any chatter apart from a couple of different Twitter Depeche Mode sites that said that, things were coming, just be patient. But we really hadn't received anything official. And then earlier this week, we got word that, sure enough, the first single from the album Spirit was going to drop on Friday. Essentially, it's Friday today. We ended up getting it late yesterday. And along with that came the album artwork, all of the details for Spirit, the track listings, and the release date of March 17th. I'm really excited, certainly excited over the new single. We're going to talk about that in the podcast this week. All the details about the forthcoming release from the band. I'll give you my opinions on that as well. I have a little bit of audio to play from the song. I'm not going to be playing the whole thing on the podcast. If you're listening to the podcast, you have already in some way, shape, or form, downloaded the song Where's the Revolution by now. There is a portion of it I want to play and talk about a bit on the podcast today. And then I'm going to work through this amazing article from Rolling Stone now that the press and promotion for Spirit has begun. Depeche Mode's Dave Gahan on urgent new Spirit LP, David Bowie influence, world crisis looms heavy on band's 14th album. I got to say this up front. I love the new single. It's not the Depeche Mode of the 90s. It's not Songs of Faith and Devotion. It's not Music for the Masses. It's not Violator. This is Depeche Mode in 2017. The fact that the band is still making music is fantastic. I never imagined that this band that I've loved for decades now would still be making relevant quality music this many years on. And for as much as a part of me wishes that we would get a hearkening back, going the route of, say, a Duran Duran that returned to the most part to their roots on some of their recent releases. I know there's been a lot of talk about New Order and their latest release and whether or not it lives up to the expectations that we have for this band. Look, the truth is, this is Depeche Mode in 2017. They've been a different band for a long, long time, and they've evolved. And the albums have always had a fresh feel while still being Depeche Mode. And the one thing, and certainly off of Where's the Revolution, that I take away is the fact that this is still a band that sounds like nothing else. They still don't sound like any other band that's out there. Even when somebody goes and says, "Oh God, was it Arcade Fire?" I think somebody made a comment that the new Arcade Fire, sounds like it was taken from the Violator era. Well, okay, but it doesn't. I mean, nobody sounds like Depeche, and there's other bands that you could say that about, but there is a special, unique quality about Depeche Mode. And for the hardcore fans who've been following the band for 4 decades, like me, for newer fans, I got an email from a 16-year-old from Brazil who emailed me, who's a fan of Depeche Mode. I just find that amazing. But Depeche Mode's more than a band for most of us. It's been more than a band for me for years. I mean, since I became a fan. I talked about it on the first podcast. Depeche Mode has been a part of my life. It's been a part of my lifestyle. It is a style more than it is a band. it has influenced me in so many different ways. Not just to the music that I enjoy, but how I dress, how I listen to music. When I was much younger, actually still to today, if I'm in a particular mood and I need something to keep me to give me solace, or I need company and I don't have anybody around that can comfort me, or maybe I don't have anybody that I can talk to, apart from prayer, I can go to any Depeche Mode record or song and find something that I can listen to that can bring me companionship in that moment. And I know that may sound weird, but that's what Depeche Mode is, I believe, for so many people, and what it is for me. And it's always a different experience hearing a new Depeche Mode song for the first time. I ended up heading out went to go pick up dinner last night, and I knew the song was going to drop soon because a lot of the overseas record labels and music channels were talking about how they were going to be debuting it. And so midnight was, happening right around 5 o'clock my time here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And while I was out, sure enough, the song was released on iTunes and on YouTube. So it actually worked out really well because I got my food and I was sitting in my car, and I waited until I knew that I was going to be on my way home so I could at least give Where's the Revolution a couple of listen tos before I got home. The stereo system in my car is great, so it was, I wasn't listening to it on an iPad, I wasn't listening to it on my phone. I think maybe I would have wanted to listen to it in headphones, but the quality of Where's the Revolution really lent itself to being played really loud in my car. And look, I wasn't disappointed. It has a bit of a if I'm equating it to other records, and you can't help but do that. There's of course the of the past few records, the patented Martin Gore guitar there in the background, a bit of blues. People have been identifying a little bit of Corrupt from Sounds of the Universe, and I can certainly get that. But there's a sense of freshness about the song. It's clean. That's something that's been missing for a while. When I go back and listen to Violator, that song just cohesively is such just a solid piece of work from beginning to end that fits together. I mean, to me, Violator, well, actually, and again, I talked about this last week with Music for the Masses, but really, Violator and Songs of Faith and Devotion, those albums are complete albums in and of themselves, beginning to end. All of the tracks on those albums fit perfectly on those albums. If you took a song from Violator and tried to put it on Songs of Faith and Devotion, or vice versa, you would know which song stuck out and which song didn't match on the album. You can say that to a certain extent for Playing the Angel, even though it's not high on my list of favorite Depeche Mode records. But if you took certain songs off of Sounds of the Universe and off of Delta Machine, you would be hard pressed to figure out which album they came off of, or which song went to which album if you weren't a hardcore fan. And actually, it's interesting because I put together a little playlist of songs that kind of I'm surrounding Where's the Revolution with until the album comes out, to kind of create my own little mini album. And so I've put Peace from Sounds of the Universe on there. I've put Broken from Delta Machine. I put In Sympathy, Welcome to My World, and they all fit and flow really well. Where's the Revolution does stick out, though. And I'm excited for the record because the song and the production on the song is different. The new producer, James Ford, obviously has brought something to the table with this current standard of Depeche Mode songs that we're getting, and I really like the production quality of it. I like the production quality quite a bit off of Sounds of the Universe, but I think it sounds even better than that. Close to what Violator was. Violator had a very crisp, clean sound to it. My only complaint on Songs of Faith and Devotion, which is arguably one of my favorite, in the top one or two of my favorite Depeche Mode albums. I wish the production on Songs of Faith and Devotion had been cleaner. That album gets a little muddied when you crank it up. You can crank Violator all the way up, and it sounds spectacular. Every single song sounds awesome, just screaming loud. You can't do that with Songs of Faith and Devotion. It's too layered, it's too dense, and the production on it doesn't lend itself to it. Where's the Revolution, though, does have that ability. You can really crank it up, and it still holds strong even at high volume. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the single. I want to start here, though, and just kind of go over the details of the album Spirit. We do have a track listing, and I also have to say, and I may have mentioned it earlier, if I didn't, totally wrong on the lyrics for Where's the Revolution. That's perfectly clear. We got lyrics for it when the album came out, and they obviously were not the lyrics that I had last week, and albeit the lyrics for Where's the Revolution are certainly better than the ones that I read last week. Let's start with the artwork first. And again, if you're a Depeche Mode fan, you're listening to this podcast, you've seen it already. The gray sleeve with the different color red swipe and the new Depeche Mode logo and font, the flags and the Anton legs and boots. It's received a lot of criticism online from fans, especially on the Halo board on the DepecheMode.com, on the Depeche-Mode.com website. I personally really like it. Anton Corbin's work is quirky. There is no doubt about that. However, I think this is arguably the best album sleeve that we've seen in... Well, I mean, I go back. I think it's better than Delta Machine. It's certainly better than Sounds of the Universe. I like it better than Playing the Angel. I liked what they did for Exciter quite a bit. It's better than Ultra. And honestly, now that I'm looking at it, I'm kind of thinking it's almost up there with Songs of Faith and Devotion. I know a lot of people think it's trite, but I like that it's... I like how simple it is and yet effective. Marching feet, essentially boots, these flags. The album obviously has more of a current events, worldly feel than it does an album full of, pain and suffering in various tempos. And it reminds me quite a bit of... The flags remind me a lot of Black Celebration. And the artwork of the boots and the legs... reminds me of Playing the Angel and some of the background visuals, the screen, the art that Anton did, especially during Enjoy the Silence on the Playing the Angel tour. So I personally really like it, and the single cover for Where's the Revolution, I think is even better. With the same sort of red, the different colored red swipes with the Depeche Mode new font, with one flag and Where's the Revolution. I think it's really clean. I would wear it. I'm looking forward to getting a T-shirt of this particular artwork. I proudly would wear it. It looks like the packaging itself is the same if you're going to be getting a physical copy, since Depeche Mode is the only album that I still go and purchase physical copies for. If you're going to be getting a physical copy like me, it's the same type of booklet and has the artwork in it, just like Delta Machine did. And I think that's cool. I like the fact that they're keeping it uniform. It'll look good on my. I like a physical release. I still buy Blu-rays. I like physical releases, and so this is going to look really, really good next to Delta Machine. When you go through the track listing, let's run through this really quick. There is going to be an LP released to this as well, special edition LP that has some etchings on it. Looks really clean. If you're into vinyl, or you've gotten into the resurgence of vinyl, you can pick it up on the 2-disc LP set. But let's run through the track listing for Spirit here real quick. And in this Rolling Stone article, they talk about quite a few of these songs. But in order, the songs go Going Backwards, Where's the Revolution, The Worst Crime, Scum, You Move, Cover Me, Eternal, Poison Heart, So Much Love, Poor Man, No More, parentheses, This Is the Last Time, and Fail. I'm gonna guess that there are a couple of instrumental tracks in there. 12 tracks for a Depeche Mode record is pretty lengthy, and I'm trying to think. Did Delta Machine? I don't think Delta Machine